It is well established in historical documents, both sacred and secular, that Jesus died on the cross. But what did the disciples believe his death accomplished? What does it all mean? In the New Testament, the answer to that question is multifaceted. Today, we are going to explore what it all means. What is the crucifixion about? I'm Michael, the Bible rethinker, and it's time to rethink. The first place to go, if you want to understand the crucifixion, is to the Gospels. This is where it all took place. Each of the Gospel writers provide unique insight into this moment in history. In the Gospel according to John, Jesus, when looking toward his death, said, "Now is the time for judgment on this world. Now the prince of this world will be driven out, and I, when I am lifted up from the earth, will draw all people to myself." But can Jesus win by dying? How could his death drive out Satan? We'll get to that in a moment. The central point, or the central motif in the Gospel according to John, is new creation. The world God created was broken because of sin and because of Satan's far-reaching influence in the world. God desired to restore his world and rid the world of Satan's control. The theme of new creation permeates every page, nearly every line in this gospel. The gospel starts by saying, "In the beginning was the Word," a clear allusion to the first creation story. Light was coming into a dark world, but this time the light was Jesus. In chapter 2, we see Jesus creating wine out of water. He takes the lesser and makes something far greater. In chapter 3, Jesus explains to Nicodemus that we can be born again. Birth is perhaps the most vivid creation experience one can witness. In chapter 4, Jesus tells the Samaritan woman about a new, superior form of water, living water, and it is Him. Later in the same chapter, Jesus remotely healed a royal official's son. The reality of sickness in the broken world is transformed into restoration in this new world. An invalid at the pool of Bethesda is healed in chapter 5. He is transformed from being immobile to a person who can walk, and even walks away from his former life of sin. When Jesus encounters a mass of people, he feeds them with food that apparently came out of thin air. There wasn't enough food for everyone. He is creating again. He even resurrected Lazarus from the dead in chapter 11. A new world is being born all around him. The Gospel of John has 7 signs and the famous 7 I am statements. Hopefully, you're getting the point. John wants us to understand that through Jesus, God is creating something new. New creation has begun. And now, on a Thursday night, Jesus was in the garden. Based on what we have learned thus far, it should be apparent that John wants us to see Jesus as sort of a recast Adam, residing in a new Garden of Eden, and soon to face temptation. This time, the intruder in the garden isn't a serpent. Far worse, it was one of Jesus' own disciples, Judas, and with him a whole detachment of soldiers. In this recasting of the serpent's role, Judas is accompanied by a detachment of soldiers. In John's telling of the story, there is no kiss. But Jesus asks the people who they want. They confirm they want Jesus. And when Jesus said, "I am he," the soldiers fell back. Jesus was not overcome by a greater force. Rather, he chose to go with the soldiers. He was even able to protect all his disciples from being taken as well. The person who holds all the cards is clearly Jesus. Adam was forced out of the garden because of his sin. Jesus was led out of the garden of his own volition. He was choosing to relive the story of Adam, but with some unexpected twists. Jesus was then questioned by the high priest, who failed to say what Jesus had done wrong. Then they handed Jesus over to Pontius Pilate with the hope he might be crucified. The dialogue that ensues is fascinating, but we will have to summarize it here. Essentially, the conversation is about power. Pilate asserts he has power, but it is truly a farce. He is manipulated and overcome by the Jewish leaders to try Jesus in the first place. Pilate repeatedly tries to get Jesus off, but repeatedly fails. He really has no control over the situation. All the while, Jesus remains perfectly cool as things unfold precisely as he intended. Jesus was inaugurating a kingdom whose origin was not from this world. As with all kingdoms, the establishment of one kingdom would mean the destruction of another. The kingdom to be destroyed in this case was Satan's and every evil empire under his control. This whole trial took place on the sixth day. Perhaps we shouldn't be surprised when Pilate introduced Jesus to the crowd with, "Here is the man," a further echo of the creation story. Here is the new Adam, the one who has relived the story of the fall, but without sinning. This time, Satan has lost. He is being defeated. Normally, power has to be obtained through the power of death, the power of everyone from Pharaoh to Nero to Stalin has been gained and maintained through the power of death. But Jesus is different. He establishes his kingdom by laying down his own life to give life to everyone else. The notice above his head on the cross said it all. Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. Pilate didn't understand what he had done by having that notice placed on the cross, but John picked up on the irony. Precisely by laying down his life, Jesus was becoming king. Pilate was spelling the doom of even his own nation. The last thing Jesus said before he died is, "It is finished." This is the same thing we read in Genesis when God finished the original creation, again on the sixth day. What did he finish though? What did Jesus finish? He had completed his plan to relive the experience not just of Adam, but of all humanity, to face it without sin, to utterly and completely defeat Satan. Sin's power is broken. Death's power is soon to be broken on Easter morning. Evil's power is exhausted on Jesus on the cross, and the cross renders it impotent. Tyrants, sin, and even Satan himself no longer has the stronghold over humanity. The prince of this world has been driven out. Jesus gave his life to break its power. The cross draws all people to Jesus. The truth of this statement has been proven over the past 2,000 years. The cross, which was a symbol of death and shame, has been recast as a source of hope and love and freedom. Please share how the crucifixion has impacted your life below. I want to read your stories. And be sure to visit my website where you can access exclusive material by becoming a member. There will be a link provided below in the description.